Listen, so this thing is crazy. The whole situation is crazy, and I wanted to look at. Let's do a reaction to this. Tucker put out a video saying if goons like Fani Willis and Letitia James can rig a presidential election, then obviously we're done. But what can we do about it? So this is interesting. So I want to see what he's talking about. Yeah, everybody know what's going on between Fani, what's going on with Letitia. Fani's stuff is just going out of hand. Fani in a jam now. She didn't put herself in a situation. But I want to hear Tucker's opinion and view on that. So let's listen to this. Let's do a reaction to this.
The key idea in democracy, to restate, is that people get to choose their rulers. They do it most of the time through elections. That's how they express their preference. And their rulers rule them at their pleasure. When the population is no longer satisfied with a ruler, the population can change the ruler. It's called self-government. That is democracy in two sentences. So if you have a system that calls itself democratic, where the people with power prevent the population from choosing certain people to lead them, then you have, by definition, a system that is not a democracy. Again, by definition, we don't need to debate that. This is not something that we have encountered in the course of American history until this election cycle, when you have the frontrunner on the Republican side, in fact, the frontrunner overall, the man who, all things being equal, will be the next president, Donald Trump, invalidated from running for office in certain states. And that's the product of a longstanding effort by permanent Washington to prevent him from running and prevent voters from voting for him. And they're doing that through the courts, as they so often do. Donald Trump is now fighting nearly 100 criminal charges across the United States, for which, if convicted, he would spend the rest of his life in prison. Now, the first thing to know about these criminal charges is they're not what you were promised. You were told for 4 years that Donald Trump was a world historic criminal. And you might have sort of started to suspect that maybe there was some truth in that. Maybe he killed a building inspector in New Jersey in 1975, and the remains would be discovered in the Meadowlands, and you like Trump, but you'd have to admit, yeah, he's kind of a criminal. But that's not all what happened. The 100 criminal charges that Donald Trump faces right now are, with no exception at all, ridiculous.
Did he say...
piddling, minor ordinance charges that he made up. One of them comes from the state of Georgia.
100 criminal charges?
Is that what they're saying?
He said it's 100 across the U.S. It's like 100 criminal charges that they have, pulled up against him.
Really? That many? I didn't know it was that many crazy.
Wow, I didn't either.
So he can possibly get out of.
That's why he say if convicted, he would spend the rest of his life in jail.
But that's not possible as a president.
100 criminal charges. Come on, good people. That's all. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. I ain't know about no 100.
Wow.
Georgia, it's for election interference, where Donald Trump apparently said something he wasn't supposed to say about the last election. He noted that it was rigged, which it was, we now know. So a district attorney there charged Trump and 18 others with trying to overturn the 2020 election by expressing unapproved opinions. That person, that DA, is called Fani Willis, and it turns out she's totally corrupt as the charges she filed. How corrupt? Well, you know this already. She's been sleeping with Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade. Fani Willis just testified about spending federal funds on vacations with this Wade guy. She said that Nathan Wade would pay for the trips, and then she would pay him back with cash she kept in her mattress. Welcome to America 2024, ladies and gentlemen. Here's Fani Willis.
So let's talk about both of those. I know he initially paid for it. Did you pay him back? For the cruise and for Aruba? Yeah, I gave him his money before we ever went on that trip. You gave him cash before you ever went on the trip? Mm-hmm. Okay. And so when you got cash to pay him back on these trips, would you go to the ATM? No, lady. You would not go to the ATM? No. Okay. So Fulton County pays you direct deposit, I assume? Yes, Fulton County and the state of Georgia both pay me direct deposits. Okay. So the cash that you would pay him, you wouldn't get it out of the bank? I have money in my house. So my question was, where did that cash originally come from? If it came out of the bank? Cash is fungible. We've had cash for years in my house. So for me to tell you the source of when it comes from, when you go to Publix and you buy something, you get $50, you throw it in there. It's been my whole life. When I took out a large amount of money on my first campaign, I kept some of the cash of that. Like, to tell you, I just have cash in my house. I don't have as much today as I would normally have, but I'm building back up now. So you just put money in. It's a very good practice. I would advise it to all women. So you can't identify when you came into this cash or where the cash came from. I didn't say I couldn't identify it. Nobody gives me anything. I am sure that the source of the money is always the work, sweat, and tears of me.
So not only...
Tucker. Oh my gosh. But I'm saying, though, why would you allow people to know that you keep cash in your house? I mean, I would have definitely not said that, period.
You better off saying, I save a little money here, save a little money there, but my house, because then what you do is, by you saying that you save money in the house, how do you keep the robber from busting in? Because everyone knows where a house is now. I didn't know, but they start posting. People start putting stuff on her house, so people get your address and know where you live.
That's messed up. Yeah.
Is she flamboyantly corrupt and stupid? She's also so filled with self-esteem that she can't bear being asked questions. She's enraged. Donald Trump is the bad guy, not her.
So your office objected to us getting Delta records for flights that you may have taken when Mr.
No. I object to you getting records. You've been intrusive into people's personal lives. You're confused. You think I'm on trial. These people are on trial for trying to steal an election in 2020. I'm not on trial, no matter how hard you try to put me on trial.
So my question
But
was,
you are.
do you have any
I
problem?
object to getting any personal records of mine.
You did that. I did that. We all did that. That's what happens when you take a person from young childhood and tell that person, you're wonderful, no matter what they do. Smearing crap on the wall, and you call it art. You wind up with someone who's like an egomaniac and impossible to deal with no capacity for introspection and a total unwillingness ever to admit fault. You wind up with a narcissist, and that's exactly what she is. And it went on like this for hours and hours. One of the most interesting moments in that hearing came from the testimony of Fani Willis's friend, Robin Yurti. Now, Yurti said that Willis and Wade began having sex in 2019. That would be 3 years before Willis and Wade said they started having sex. Now, if that's true, if the sexual testimony is accurate, that would mean that Willis started having sex with Wade before she hired him to investigate Donald Trump. Watch.
So you know that their relationship, their personal relationship, began shortly after this municipal court conference.
Yes.
And when I say personal, romantic. I just want to make sure we don't get in an argument over what personal and romantic is later. When I ask you personal, do you take that to mean romantic?
Yes.
And do you understand it that their relationship began in 2019 and continued until the last time you spoke with her?
Yes.
So this is the moment when it's important to remember that the United States is a great country.
And also breaking that they have gotten footage showing him going to her house, because remember, it was going out to like, okay, yeah, they were dated, but you don't have no proof of that. Now there is proof, allegedly, that going to the house, and this was way before being hired. So
My question, I wondered if the friend was subpoenaed or if the friend volunteered.
to get me too. That's what I was thinking.
Because if she was, I remember her saying that she and I are no longer friends.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about in so long. And I consider this absolute betrayal.
Yeah.
So one, if the friend just volunteered the information or, volunteered herself to be,
Yeah.
on the stand, then that to
on
me
that
would be
too.
considered betrayal. But if she was subpoenaed because she was known to be a friend of hers and she had when you get subpoenaed by the court, you better show up.
Oh, you got to be. Yeah.
You got to be there.
So Fanny like, oh, you
it's
ain't
like,
my friend no
well,
more by saying the truth.
Why would she purge herself to try to save y'all's friendship when now you in the court of law, it is what it is. You were the one that was doing wrong, so why you mad at your friend?
And what would happen is, as soon as you get the lying on that stage and they find another source to prove that you guilty, the person who lied for you they coming after you. They coming to your door to come get you. They coming after the door.
And you think
for lying.
that Fanny is going to look after the friend because
Child, please.
Child, please. No,
Child, please.
I doubt it.
Yes.
So this is the moment when it's important to remember that the United States is a great country. It's the most powerful country in the history of the world. It's got hundreds of millions of really decent, hardworking, honest people living in it. And so you have to ask, why is it run by people like that? Transparent morons who are corrupt and arrogant, who are mismanaging everything. Like, why do we allow that? Why do we allow that? Good question. Meanwhile, over in the state of New York, Donald Trump was just ordered to pay $350 million for the crime of taking loans from banks for real estate deals and paying back those loans. There's no actual fraud here. He paid back the loans. These are huge banks, some of the biggest banks in the world. They were happy with the terms, but the state of New York is not happy. So CNN has been calling this a crime, of course, for months without explaining what exactly happened. Enter into that Kevin O'Leary, the famous investor from Shark Tank, trying to explain to a CNN host what this actually means. Watch this.
Excuse me, what fraud? This is not about Trump anymore. When you get a developer that builds a building and he says it's worth $400 million and he wants to borrow $200 million from a bank, which happens every day, everywhere on earth, including every American city.
That's real estate.
Every developer is an entrepreneur. They shine the light on their building and they say it's worth 400. The bank does its own due diligence, as was done in this case, because they're very good at it. The banks are very good, and they say, no, it's worth 300. We're only going to loan you 150 million. That haggling has gone on for decades. That's how it works. And then in this case, even the bank that was supposedly defrauded testified and said, we didn't lose anything. We want to do business with this guy again. We'd like to. But the judge said, no. Let's penalize this developer for $355 million. And if we're going to do that, let's penalize all the developers all across America. They've all done the same thing. All of them should go to jail, and we should stop building buildings.
So there's one thing he said that is indisputable. It's not about Donald Trump. It's about...
So as a real estate investor, that means, oh, now I need to get out of the real estate game. I can't build no properties, because that's the whole point. That's the whole point. You build a property. So that's basically on the same thing as saying that this house, I'm going to rehab this house. this house, I'm gonna buy this house for $50,000. The ARV on this house is $200,000, and the repairs on it are $50,000. So I'm all in for $100,000 because this thing is appraised at $200,000, and I'm gonna get a loan for a certain amount. So you telling me that I can't do a standard real estate deal because he's doing a standard real estate deal? You can't fraud the bank. You can't flip them. You can't flip them. So anyway, that didn't make sense to me. I couldn't understand that with the real estate side of it.
About our system and whether we should allow a small number of partisans to burn it to the ground for the sake of winning a presidential election. And speaking of corrupt, the Attorney General of New York, Letitia James, who reportedly is worth $15 million despite making less than $200,000 a year in her job. How did that happen, if true? Immediately congratulated herself, as always, after the ruling.
Today, justice has been served. Today, we prove that no one is above the law.
She's Letitia or Fani? Did he say was worth $15 million?
Letitia.
So Letitia, she got a $200,000 job
salary,
but she made $15 million.
Well, she's worth. He said. However, I'm gonna
Nancy
say
Pelosi.
I'm gonna say, well, maybe she has other businesses. Maybe she made investments, but if it's supposedly drawn from that income, then how? Is it like being an educator where you can be after school to make make more money? Is it by doing certain things within that area of whatever her role is? Is that she can make more, make additional funds by doing other roles in government? You get paid. I don't know.
I need to find out if she has businesses, or does they follow, does Biden give them all the game? Give them all the game and say, hey, you boo this, and he can be a millionaire in a year.
She may have a book. She may have a boutique.
Now I need to see what businesses she has, because that seems to be the standard over in the political arena, to $200,000 job, $400,000 job.
To be a multimillionaire?
And a multimillionaire with no businesses, so it's
interesting.
No matter how rich, powerful, or politically connected you are, everyone must play by the same rules. We have a responsibility to protect the integrity of the marketplace. And for years, Donald Trump engaged in deceptive business practices and tremendous fraud. Donald Trump falsely, knowingly, inflated his net worth by billions of dollars to unjustly enrich himself, his family, and to cheat the system. Donald Trump may have authored the art of the deal, but he perfected the art of the steal.
Oh, come on. So into allowing the dumbest and most corrupt among us to run everything. They occupy positions of power in every big city in the United States, prosecutors' offices, and obviously they're tearing down what they didn't build. That's exactly what we're watching now. Maybe we should stop allowing that. But just last night, Letitia James, who obviously likes being on television, was back on TV saying she's actually more interested in just seizing Trump's buildings. Just like we did to the Russian oligarchs. Forget the money. That's not enough. Just take the property. Watch.
New York Attorney General Letitia James says she's prepared to do everything she can to make sure the former president pays his fine, including, she told us, seizing the buildings that bear his name.
If he does not have funds to pay off the judgment, then we will seek, judgment enforcement mechanisms in court. And we will ask the judge to seize his assets.
Seize his assets. We don't like the guy. We can just take his stuff. So big picture, this has been tried in other countries, South Africa, for example. And over time, this doesn't work. I mean, maybe you win the upcoming election in November. Congratulations. But what do you preside over when you do? Is anyone actually going to be doing business in New York? What's the tax base going to look like in 10 years? Well, of course, you know the answer to that. Everyone does. And yet no one's doing anything about it. Just pretending it's all about Trump. Stephen Miller knows a lot about the subject. He was a senior advisor to President Trump. He's founder of America First Legal, which is one of the few really sensible organizations of lawyers in the United States. We're grateful for its existence. He joins us now. Stephen Miller, thanks so much for coming on. So what do we learn from this? I mean, there are a bunch of different things happening at the same time, efforts to stop Donald Trump from running for president, but they all seem kind of connected thematically. What's your takeaway?
Yes, they are all very much connected. I think the first and most important point is this. You can tell who truly has power in any society by looking at who can persecute an innocent person in broad daylight and get away with it completely. They can announce that they're going to do it, then they can do it, they can finish the job, they can impose the outrageous fines, the outrageous punishments, and they can say, I just did it. And the whole entire society, the whole system can either look the other way or applaud.
Wait. I'm sorry, I have to ask. I'm sorry. Letitia James is one of the most oppressed people in American society. Okay, I've been told that for a long time. How can that not be true? I mean, that's an article of faith with me. She's oppressed.
And so this is all part of the performative illusion, where she stands up there at the press conference, we're the underdog, we took on the big, powerful Donald Trump. No, you took on the leader of a voiceless opposition party in this country. What you did is you are the ruling class. You are the ones who set the terms, who set the conditions, who control how all of our legal system and democracy runs. And then you're going after the man whose job it is to stand up for the dispossessed and the disenfranchised of this country. The
Right.
message being, if you out there choose among you a leader to stand up to us, we will decapitate him. That's the message they're sending. You can be unhappy about the border invasion. You can be unhappy about formalized racism discriminating against you and your children and your relatives. You can be unhappy about the decay of our cities and our system, the ruin of our education system. You can be unhappy about all your money, your tax dollars, your property taxes being stolen from you and redistributed to people who have no right to be here, to welfare cheats, and to criminals. And if you choose someone to stand up to all of this, watch us ruin him. Watch us destroy him. And even if he gets into office, as he did in 2017, watch us launch a soft coup day after day after day. And then in 2020, if we change the whole rules for elections, if we change how everything's run, if we break every single law in the key swing states about how elections should be run, watch none of our secretaries of state go to jail. None of our officials, no one implementing the system. The only people who will go to jail are the ones who deign to go to court or a legislature to seek a redress of these grievances. And then finally, watch us violate the 8th Amendment in plain view against excessive fines. Right there in the Constitution, our founders feared it, deeply feared it. Watch us violate the 8th Amendment and nothing will happen, and judges will be petrified, terrified to even think of siding with Donald Trump, lest the left go after them too. This is a tutorial in who runs this society and how decayed our democracy has truly become.
Every power center in the United States and really across the West is arrayed against Donald Trump.
He just said a mouthful.
I mean, he just laid it all out. It is absolutely ridiculous. Wow. And that is why he has gained so many votes and so many people are waking up, smelling the coffee, realizing if they will do this to a rich white man, don't think they won't do it to you.
Yeah. Especially if you ain't got money to protect yourself.
Oh my gosh. This is, wow. I love his breakdown.
That was a breakdown. That was.
Trump, they don't want him to run for president, much less win. But Trump does have one arrow left in his quiver, and that's his voters. They are not the most powerful people in the world, but they have the most essential jobs. In general, Trump voters are not working on climate issues or ESG or diversity, equity, and inclusion. They're not staffers at the Aspen Institute or in some bloated university. They are the people who pave the roads and grow the food and then deliver it to your grocery store so you don't starve to death. They are the actual essential workers in this country. And a lot of them really support Donald Trump, and they understand exactly what's happening to him, which he is being crushed beneath the wheels of world power structures.
Talking about the truckers.
And so some of them, truckers, long-haul truckers specifically, are now refusing, in response to what's happened to Trump in the state of New York, to deliver goods, essential goods, to New York. And that would include groceries and fuel. Jake Logan has spent many years delivering these things, fuel specifically. He's a hazmat trucker who drives all over the Mountain West through some of the most dangerous passes in the continental United States. He supports this boycott. He joins us now from Salt Lake City to tell us why. Jake Logan, thanks so much for coming on. I summarized.
It's great to see you, Tucker. Thank you.
It's great to see you. And I summarized really quickly what you do for a living, but will you just explain it a little more? What's your job, just for some context?
My job simply is to haul and deliver fuel, diesel fuel, to small mountain towns across the West, across the Rockies. This most beautiful country, the finest people you'll ever want to meet.
So that would include in the winter, having been through some of those passes, 10 or 12,000 foot passes in the Mountain West. What's it like to drive a fully loaded diesel fuel truck down that grade?
Wow.
It can be an adventure. Sometimes if there's too much snow, they might close the road for us, or they'll have chain restrictions. We'll have to chain it up. But you'd be surprised how quickly you can get used to driving one of these big rigs, these fuel trains across the Rockies. It's spectacular.
It sounds it.
God bless people to do that.
And without diesel fuel, then the country grinds to a halt and people starve to death. So I just wanted to make it really clear up front that you don't work at some nonprofit in Boston or a biotech firm. You're actually keeping the country alive.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So with that in mind, why would you support Trump? Why would you have strong feelings about what happened to him in New York? Tell us your view.
Well, I tell you what, I am proud to stand with my fellow brothers and sisters in the trucking industry. They are among President Trump's strongest supporters. And we, along with other MAGA Patriot Americans, have been watching how this government has been persecuting President Trump. And we are fed up with it. Americans and truckers primarily are standing up and saying we have had enough. And this boycotts have been very effective in the past. And I support this boycott, and hopefully this will just be the beginning. I would support boycotts of other blue cities. And this is our way of peacefully protesting and hopefully bringing President Trump back to the White House.
All right.
Let's go.
So check this out, man.
This was really good.
And what was so interesting is I just thought about something, how America is going for Trump. The reason I was listening to this guy's YouTube channel, his name's Tommy G. You see it pop up. Tommy G goes and he does these conversations with people like these known gangs in this area or these known places over here. I didn't watch 4 of his videos. Everyone he goes to visit, whether they're Afghanistan gang, they're Bloods and Crips, all of them, it's always this one aspect in time he'll they'll ask them. The people would he talking to say, man, that's why we need to get Trump back in here, man. We want Trump back. I didn't watch 4 videos, multiple games. All of them have at least said, man, it's time to get Trump back in here, man. This stuff is crazy. And it was not even a political thing. The dudes just bust in each time and say, man, we got to get Trump back in here. The world is seeing it. The youth is seeing it. Everybody wants this. Anybody that's opposing this, these people are, you need to be over, you need to go over here somewhere. Go in the corner and just be quiet. But the world knows what they want. And hey, politically, you already know what we choosing. So it's just like, go ahead, you can jump in now.
So she was saying that if he can't pay his debt, all he needs to do is sell some more of them shoes. I'm just saying. I like the tennis shoes, okay?
Listen. Them shoes were going. I saw somebody post it. I want to see. Let me see where they at now, y'all.
While you doing that, I'm just gonna say.
Ahead, go
it's like so easy. If he sold 1,000 shoes at $400, he made 400. He made 400 grand. Let's say it was $399. You round it to 400. Okay, so that's nothing. That's nothing.
Keep talking.
I mean, think about it. It's like if he has to pay. I know he's going to appeal that, and it's a very high probability that he won't have to pay it. But in the event somehow these crooks that's trying to enforce what's legal but made it illegal to him, if he has to pay that large amount, okay. Well, I'm like, that's when I saw that, I was like, oh, he coming over. How he gonna pay his fine? He got the right here. That's brilliant. Capitalism in America. I mean,
so check this out.
Sell your shoe.
Check this out. I'm gonna put this on the screen, y'all. I'm gonna put this on the screen.
Sell your
So look at this. The shoe, the original sale price of the shoe, the Never Surrenders, were $399. These are look at these prices. Somebody got them for $8. Somebody got them for $9. Somebody got them for $50,000. I don't know how and what in their mind think they're gonna get 50 when people are selling for $800. But look at these prices. $200,000,
please.
$13,000, $25,000 for the Trump shoe.
So it is extremely gone up because the other day I didn't see bids that high.
Yo, the highest bid we saw the other day was $22,500. You notice that $22,500 bid ain't even up here. But my question is, that's like somebody having a house. Their house is worth $1 million. The house next to them is worth $200,000. Folks gonna be like, bruh, hey, I'm about to get a $200,000 house. But I don't know why that price difference is too crazy. I want to know who lists these prices. $800,000, $50,000, way off margin.
That's really, really too high.
That's crazy.
It is.
But know that none of these shoes are selling for $399 no more. None of them. Not one of them. Look, except for this one.
But that's not the gold one. That's a different one.
I don't like them. Them things like you supposed to cut grass with them. But them gold ones are the ones that's crazy. But I just want to show y'all that, man. All he got to do, now he got to come out with another one because those have already hit the street. But I think if he sold,
I mean,
listen, all he had to do, like Kanye took his clothes, his shoes, them Yeezy pods and his newer sets of clothes. He marked everything down to be $20. So he got himself out of debt and a situation.
Smart.
Because he sold it and made it extra affordable, and everybody could buy it. Everybody was getting multiple pairs.
I love it.
So if Trump did that, let's say Trump dropped them shoes, he dropped another pair, or he somehow can affiliate with a non-woke main brand and get this pushed out there for some different flavors of the shoe. He could get himself at. I don't even think he's gonna have to pay that $300 million, but now he'd just be up in his pocket.
If he left them at the price that he left them, they would still sell out all over the USA because people are wanting to support him.
Yeah, true.
Trust me. People do what they want to do with their resources, and you know that's exactly how I feel. From the poorest person to the richest person, you do what you want to do with your time, money, and resources. Don't play. So if they wanted them shoes, they would get them shoes. But let's say he marked them off. Let's say he did them at 100. Oh, they really gonna be.
They be selling.
Yes.
I told my wife over here. She said, I want a pair of them Trump shoes. I said, well, they would be for collector's items. These are to be on the banister with the other stuff. She said, I'm wearing my shoes outside.
That's right. I'm already putting together my outfit.
These are not shoes you wear out the door.
Why
These are shoes to say I got one of the pairs of the Trump shoe.
On my
It's
feet.
like a Grand National.
Some
like,
cute
man,
leggings,
I got a Grand National
dress, jacket.
All right, y'all. I will go on y'all.
hat.
You hear that? What is that? All right, 2024.
Be more.
Talk less. That's your part.
I know, but you act like you know what to say.
2024. Be more.
Talk less.
See you on the next one, man.
Yeah.
All right.